Welcome, leaders, teams, and those ready to take charge of their energy. It's Kelly Buboltz, your guide in workforce energy management. Burnout is not just a buzzword, it's a symptom of deeper root cause stressors. We're here to stop waiting for the change and start leading it. It's time to reclaim our energy and lead our days with intention and purpose. Are you or your schedule in control? It was interesting as I started to spin in this spiral in my burnout and just chronic stress that I realized I wasn't driving any part of my day. Anyone who would request my time stole that slot in my calendar. Anyone who wanted to take over my night, birthday invites, kid activities, help this other person. Suddenly, weeks went by where I didn't control anything in my schedule. I would start my day in chaos. I would enter the office in pure chaos and always be catching up. Do you feel that? Like just chasing hours all the time. And as I began looking into how can I approach my days more intentional, how can I gain my energy back, reclaim my energy, I found that my calendar didn't really reflect my priorities, my value adds at work. It reflected everyone else's requesting something of me. So no wonder my energy was constantly draining every day. You know the feeling where you hustle all day long and you should feel productive, you should feel progress, but all you feel is drain. You go home and you are spent. You don't want to do anything. You want to lay on the couch and scroll. You don't have a lot to give for your kids. I've heard in a lot of professions, especially more of the caregiving, like nurses and teachers, that they're struggling just to show up at home because they gave so much during the day. So let me ask you the big question. If I would take a look at your calendar, your Google Calendar, your work calendar, what would it reflect is your priority? What would it tell me as your coach that you are focusing on? That you are spending your value add, your skill set, your contributions. What are you focusing on? And most likely, because I do leadership masterminds, what I see is meetings and more meetings and more meetings and back-to-back meetings and spillover from meetings. And I'll ask the crucial question, when do you actually work? When do you have time for your one-on-ones, your crucial conversations? When do you have time to actually do the value adds that you were hired for? The hard part of acknowledging and being aware that your schedule has kind of run off in reaction mode, in response to everyone else. The hard part is all the boundaries that you have not set, all the conversations you have not had. When I burnt out and started to explain what happened to my boss, he says, "How the hell did this happen? We talk every day." And now I'm sitting in his office, bawling like my life is ending because now I have to exit the workforce. My health is so poor, I'm going to have a heart attack. How did this happen? I was in reaction mode. I was a firefighter and I was good at it. But even with all those accolades and all those bonuses and recognition and praise, it wasn't reinforcing the behaviors that you need in your organization, that you need for yourself to refuel that energy and actually perform and produce good work. It was rewarding the firefighting, the constant availability to respond to others. And over time, that's not productive. And over time, that's not sustainable. We're going to go through 4 steps to regain not just your calendar, but reclaim your energy. When the world gets chaotic or there's too many unknowns, it is very natural for our brain, our nervous system, to want to take control. And sometimes we'll respond with just trying to do it all, doing more, doing it faster, being extra responsive to others. But really what your nervous system and your brain needs is clarity, is doing things with intention in which it's going to feel that progress. So let's go into these steps. The first one is let's audit your calendar. Take a look at your calendar and ask that question. If Kelly would see your calendar, what would she establish is your priority for the week, for the month, where you're spending your most time? What would she ask? What are the value adds? Why are you even doing this? If you're looking for templates for a time audit or even energy mapping, go ahead and check out the other content out here. Based on that evaluation of your calendar, now I want you to check your energy boosters, where you need to time block, where you need to reset. And a great way to do that is through that time audit tool and seeing where the ebbs and flows are. Where are you energized? Is it in the morning? Then do your value add or brainstorm deep type of work during that time, not sitting in meetings, getting more on your plate, always in response mode. And then do you have draining times of the day, like the afternoon slump? Do you have times where this one meeting just drags you down? Don't schedule your deep work right after that. Do you know the ebbs and flows of your day, and do you schedule towards that? Do you see the shift of energy already? You're time blocking and resetting where your natural energy flow is. You've already taken one step towards control of your schedule. So step one was we audited our schedule. Where's the priorities? If Kelly would ask you, where's your priorities? Where's your value adds? Could you answer that honestly and then begin the shift? The second is where are those energy boosters, those lows, and can you time block and reset around that? Again, another step into controlling your schedule. The third step is identifying what is urgent and what is not urgent. In my world of manufacturing industry, it seemed like everything was a fire. Everything was a priority. And at any point in time, you could be working on a priority. Someone pops in your office and now that's the priority. You had to adapt at a very fast pace. And what I found is I had to really identify what is urgent and what is less urgent, because everything's going to be a priority. And what I found is if you just ask the question, a little pushback in clarification of their timeline, of their request, you will find you have more time than you think. For example, say if someone pops in my office, I'm already working on an initiative, a priority that was established in the last meeting, and they say, I need this report today. I'll ask, what is it for? And maybe it's something they're working on and they're building out all this data. And I'll say, well, when is that due? And they'll say, at the end of the month, we have 3 more weeks. And then I'll respond with a healthy boundary, something like, I'm in the middle of something right now that we've already established a priority on. Can I work on that next week? Would Wednesday be good? And most likely they say yes, because one, they have clarification of when you're going to get them that information. And most likely they actually say yes. And it surprised me too, because most likely they're just looking for clarification that you're going to be able to deliver a result that they're looking for. And they have more time than you think. Now, there is times that came up that they needed it today, and I had to shift. But it was less than I thought it was going to be. By just asking the question, when do you really need this by? I have other priorities right now. Suddenly, time appeared. Now, an underlying factor in that type of conversation is high trust. If you can be dependable, if you can be reliable, this works. If you are not dependable, you're not reliable, you miss those deadlines over and over again, you break that trust. And so they're going to say, I need it today, because they don't trust that you're going to get it done. So filtering what is urgent and not urgent by having those genuine conversations is going to be important as you start to regain parts of your schedule. Now, own your transitions. That's step 4. How do you land after one event and have to switch to a completely different type of energy? For example, sometimes I had to have hard conversations, tough talks with people, disciplinary conversations, or terminations in HR. They're awful. They're probably the worst part of HR. Anyone who enjoys that should not be in HR. It's not what we go into that profession for. And at that point, you feel like a failure. You feel like even if you did everything, and they own the reason why they're separating, you still have to deal with the emotion and the cognitive load of separating an employee. And I would have to do that often in the mornings for third shift, and then switch gears and go into a candidate interview, smiling, like I'm excited to work here, like my day is going great. It's not. I'm doing the worst part of my job this morning. And that type of cognitive load and emotional switch weighs on you. Do you already feel the drain? The drain by lunchtime. So owning the transitions and blocking off time, or making sure that you're not doing exciting things right after draining things right after exciting things, is going to optimize your energy and productivity. Let me show you what this type of schedule can look like. Let's take a look at a more energizing schedule in which I control my day. So I'm not ping-ponging around in meetings. I'm not surviving all day long in response mode. I take control of my schedule with intention. It doesn't mean that I'm constantly saying no or blowing people off. It means that I'm being intentional about what I'm working on, and I'm communicating clearly with high trust and genuine conversations so that I can not only be productive, but I reclaim that energy throughout the day so I'm not drained at the end of the night. So what it looks like is I focus my morning. That's where my energy is before my day runs away. And that means I'm working on initiatives. I'm working on deep work type of activities. Then I go into communication type of things like meetings because I always got more on my plate. So meetings got pushed off to a little bit in the morning. The other thing that did is it allowed me time to actually gather information for the meeting. Have you ever been in a meeting where people show up and they don't even have what they were supposed to have for the meeting? So now you're just talking about things to talk about things. What a waste, right? This is how dysfunctional meetings begin. So the communication later in the morning allows people to actually prepare for such meeting. And then I go into activities. That means responding to emails. That means going into that reaction mode. Do you see that that's almost at the lunchtime area? And I know for some industries, this is going to be difficult if they're customer faced. They're going to have to respond right away. But I just want to emphasize, when you can even focus the first hour of your day, the whole day changes because you've had the progress that your brain needs to re-energize. But when we give it away right away in the morning to meetings, to response mode, man, that's such a drainer, right? So focusing and then getting in that communication, that meeting type of mentality, and then going into reactive activities. Do you see how my day is kind of almost done with the productivity already? So whatever happens in this meeting, great, I'll work on it. Whatever happens in my email box, great, I'll work on it. Because I already intentionally got things done that I wanted to prioritize. Whew. Do you feel that energy shift already? Yes. This is the little bits of movement you can do. This doesn't have to be every day, but a few days a week. Do you feel that energy shift and the progress you can make throughout the week? Then lunch, I reset. Man, I was a number one offender of skipping lunch. I would work through lunch. I would schedule meetings through lunch. If they agreed to a working lunch and we would order food, what we need is a reset. We need to walk around. We need to get away from screens. If you're at screens all day, you need to reset. And then in the afternoon, I can jump into activities. I can go into that reaction mode a little bit. And then I end the day again with focus to prove to my brain that I had progress today, to start to reset my priorities for tomorrow, all the things that ended up on my plate that day. And you kind of sort it out so you're not taking that mental, that cognitive load home, and you can have a life. When you can focus these 4 steps on really taking a look at your schedule, where are you spending your time? Where are you prioritizing those time slots, both at work and at home? Doing that time audit, that energy mapping is going to help you really lay out where's your ebbs and flows. That's step 2. And then 3, what is urgent and what isn't so much urgent? And are you having those genuine conversations to establish some of those healthy boundaries? And then 4, own the transitions. Own the landings where you need some space to reset. Own that intentionality in your schedule so that work is work and you can have a life. Part of shifting from your schedule owning you to you owning your schedule is being intentional. Take one step tomorrow and reclaim your energy. Today's step matters. It's in the micro moments that real change begins. Managing your energy isn't about shame, blame, or disrupting your lifestyle. It's about the small, intentional choices to reclaim that natural energy. If this episode hit the mark for you, share with others. This journey doesn't have to be lost and lonely, but exciting and full of new paths. See you back here to continue the adventure.